Okay, so you should have gotten a piece of paper and cut it and then made flaps with our little foldable. The first one that I want you to do is the addition one. So right here, you're going to write the steps, and then I will do an example with you in just a moment. So the very first thing we're going to do is addition, and so here are the steps for addition. Now I would like you to turn the computer on pause. Okay, now that you've written that down, did you notice that I underlined the exponents of both numbers are the same? Then you add the decimals. Now, make sure that you line up. Remember, with addition and subtraction, you have to line up the decimals. If you don't, then you end up with the wrong answer. Now what I want you to do is, in this little area right here where it says example, we're going to do an example. And the first example we're going to do is this one right here. The first thing that you're said is both of the exponents have to be the same. If you notice right here, the exponents are not the same, so we have to make them the same. It doesn't matter which one you change for addition, it does matter for subtraction though. So on this one, I'm just going to change this one. This is the same thing as saying 9.7 times 10 to the second power times 10 to the fourth. Do you notice how this one and this one are exactly the same now? Hopefully you remember 10 to the second power is 100. So if I take 9.7 and I multiply it by 100, I get 970 times 10 to the fourth power. Now, do I have to write this step right here? No. If I want to bring this down to 4, then I must move this decimal over and make it bigger by 2 decimal spots. Now, if you look at this, they have the same exponents. So now I just have to add these two together. So 970 plus 5.4. Remembering that you have to line up the decimals. I don't know why I put my plus sign so far in there. This is a 4, a 5, a 7, a 9. 975.4 times 10 to the fourth power, because step 2, you have to keep the exponents the same. But my problem is this isn't in scientific notation right now. If I look at this, this is a big number. It's bigger than 9. It's too big. So I need to make it 9.754 times 10. Now, I moved it over 2 spots. I made it go from a big number, a huge number, so that means I have a positive 2 that I need to be adding onto this exponent. So it's to the 6th power. And we'll do some more practicing of that in just a few minutes. Now I want you to find the flap that says subtraction, and go to the top, and we're going to put down the steps for subtraction. Here are the steps for subtraction. Because I should. There we go. And if you look, it's almost the exact same thing. So copy that down and hit pause. Okay, same thing here. Exponents, both the same exponents. Subtract the decimals, make sure you line it up, and keep the exponents the same once you do that. Then make sure you've got it back in scientific notation. So the example we're going to do here. I need my exponents to be the same. But right now this is an 8. So I need to make it be a 7. This says it's big. I need to go down 1 here. So that means I need to make this bigger by 1 decimal spot. Then over here, then I subtract. Remember when you're subtracting, I'm going to do it over here, 17, when you subtract you have to line up your decimal spots. It's a very important step. I borrow, I subtract, and I get 9.8. So over here I get 9.8 times 10 to the 7th power. The next one we're going to work on is a little bit different because on this one you don't have to have the same amount in your exponents. Copy this down. Now if you notice this one, it says multiply the decimal numbers and add the exponents, just like we just did on our last test. We add the exponents. Here we have this problem right here. Now hopefully you remember how to multiply decimals. Over here I'm going to do 3.7 times 6.2. That's a 14, right? 14. That's 6, 7. That's a 42. That's 18, so that's 22. A 4, a 9, a 2, a 2. I remember my decimal spot. There are 2 decimals. So 22.94 times 10 to that, and then I add my exponent, 6 plus 4. So that's 10. Guess what? That's not in scientific notation, so I need to make it into scientific notation. So this is a big number. It's bigger than 9. So then I need to make it 2.294. I moved it 1 decimal spot, so that's an 11. Now our last area is the dividing. I'll zoom it in a little for you. There we go. Okay. Now when we divide, the biggest thing to remember with division, guys, is what number goes inside. It's 1.2 divided by 2.4. 1.2 divided by 2.4. I move my decimal over, I move my decimal over. Put a decimal point, add a couple zeros. 24 goes into 12 0 times. 24 goes into 120. Guess, 5 times. It's, oops, sorry about that. Exactly 120. So I get 0.5 times 10. Now on this one, remember when we have division, we subtract our exponents. So this would be to the 5th power. Alert! That is not in scientific notation. This number is not above 1. So I need to make this go from a small number. So that means I need to go down by 1 over here. Okay, those are your notes. Now we're going to go on to some practice.